Okay, so once you have this text in here, I have the character palette open, and right now I'm just using the section for this. I'm just going to duplicate this part and remove the bottom of this and just use what a difference this part here. So I'm actually going to select this and go to Helvetica and see, just typing it in here, regular, bold. And when you have these open, if you use this option where you shift key and drag this across, it makes it a little quicker. Now you can see this part, you can see the distance of the type, how much smaller it has to be. The difference is a little bit larger, so I'm kind of looking at that word itself to try to place it, even though I have two separate sections. And I could do this as well. I could take this out and just highlight this, but I can still keep it within the text line. Sometimes you can always eliminate it so it's on its own section there, but this at least gives you a part set up so it already has this section. So when I type it in there, I'm just increasing the point size. Why it has that blue color in there, I can still grab this if I don't have the section in here. The print here. So this section I have, and
this is for Matthew. Okay.
Right.
We just need him to sign it. He's in a lot of the pictures.
It's in the corner.
Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you. So when you highlight this, just changing that to blue, and this to red. So that places it in there pretty easily. I could keep this instead of trying to duplicate it. Just go ahead and place it on there. And take this out. Just put year in here. So it's just trying to use whatever parts. So this is already the point size, so I'm going to copy it and paste it inside here and just put spelling it over here. So it depends on how you like to work, but that'll take that piece off. And this is actually just a regular font, so I probably should have done that instead of making that bold. Just gone to regular. So I kind of trying to simplify it or use some of those pieces. And that way it kind of places it in there pretty quickly. Pretty easily. See what I did there? So I zoom into this part, and again, this is the same type of font. I'm probably going to highlight this, make it blue, highlight this for Helvetica, oblique, which is the same as italic, and you can place that in there. So it looks a little larger than that. I just have to drop it down one and trying to get as close as I can to that size. And the scan may not be perfectly in line there. But then coming down to the bottom here, same idea, selecting this one, just highlighting it in here, bold, just shift key this part a little bit larger. And keep in mind, this is just using the scaling. It's not changing anything too much. And doing the same with this one. Again, Helvetica.
How do you do the little things for like the Spanish, the one with the letters with the accents?
That's the glyph on it, yeah. So for example, this part right here, for Anya, if I take this and duplicate it, and under the character palette, you can see that you have these options, but it doesn't have the glyph. When you go under the window and go under type and go under glyphs here, this shows the pieces that are listed in here. So whatever the font is that you choose, let's see if it'll show it to me here. Set that. So let's see, Helvetica. Whoop. So here's the part. Say I want that letter A. Let's see what font I have. Whoops, almost. There's Helvetica. So when you're in here, you take a look through here and scroll down, and you'll see some of the letters that have these pieces on there. So you have to locate the one that has the accent mark over the E. So here's the letters here. I don't see it yet. See how fast I can do it.
I didn't draw enough to bring in pictures of.
Can you click it?
Earlier years.
That's the key. See what we can do here. So let's see. I'll come back to that because it's going to take me a second. I'll be back for that one. So that'll be the section there. So once you get the type there, type for that one, this graphic for the logo is just a gradient. So the gradient palette, when you click on it, you can actually select that piece. You can click on the gradient editor, and that's going to give you this section. And dropping that color onto this palette. This is right from the swatches. And it's going to be light color, so I can just drag white down here and take these off. And that gives me this part. So the closer I put this to here, it gives me that edge. The closer I move this one across, it gives me that piece. So that gives me the editor in the gradient part. And then this logo that they have, again, I'm just going to make it a rectangle tool with a square and just move it up. Make it a solid color. And for LifeTouch, just kind of click, spell out LifeTouch. And this one you can just modify. You don't have to come up with the exact part there. So when you get under the font, as you scroll through this, you might see some script font that's here, making the color white. It's the last thing you did, so it's on top of. Let's see about this part, so you can kind of see how it adjusts itself when you take a look at just the text with the character palette. And here's the leading, so it's just going to quickly touch the leading here. And here I'm just using the line of touch here, so I'm kind of just adjusting it to be close. It's not the space bar, but the options in the lettering there. And again, when you have it selected, able to do that. It's not an italic type, but I can take the section that has the adjustment for shearing it and adjust it that way, and then take it and just rotate it like so. So just come up with a close look of the logo. Again, it's still text. I can click inside the T and the O and use the option with the arrow key to bring that closer together. I can highlight this and use the vertical or horizontal scale. Okay, and so it gives you some adjustments to it that make it look pretty close. And aside from the photographs, you just have the group this together, drop it right where it belongs. And I just put in rectangles for these placeholders for the photographs. Okay.